All right, so this is our miter lock drawer box. I think it's a preferred drawer box over dovetails, and it takes a little bit of it's taken me a little bit of time to convince myself and my customers that this is the nicer drawer box. Dovetails are kind of ubiquitous, and everyone knows what they are. The miter lock is interesting. It's a great production method to make a drawer box, and people actually like it. I've never had a customer go like, oh, that's weird that you don't have dovetails. Like, I would prefer dovetails. I've literally never had a customer say, and I've sold millions of dollars of furniture, like literally millions. I've made so many drawer boxes using this style because honestly, the drawer boxes that are dovetailed, I used to order them in, and the quality was just not where it needed to be. So now I can sell my customer a solid cherry or walnut drawer box that uses soft close undermount slide. I never had a customer, like I said, not be completely thrilled with my drawer box. Plus, we'll go ahead and we clear coat our drawer boxes, which is really important. Customers would like to see that glossy kind of finish. But yeah, so I'm going to talk again about the miter lock. So obviously we got to start by cutting out our material using a miter saw, and we're going to stack it all over by the table saw. You're going to start basically filleting all of these boards so that we can plane them down. So we set our saw to kind of just a standard dimension, which is 8 inches. It's kind of what I cut all my drawer box material down to. I don't generally have boxes over that. So we're going to mill up all this material real quick so that we can then plane it. Sometimes you got to joint those boards because they're just not quite straight, especially as they get longer. You need to do that. So that's what we're doing here. Finally, we're setting up our dimension to rip these down. These are 5/4 boards, so we're going to go ahead and rip them down the middle, which gives us about 1/2 inch pieces. And the first cut through the saw, you notice that I've raised it up about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches. Anyway, I'm ripping them down, and then I'm rotating them 360 degrees and filleting them again on the other side. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a large cut that my bandsaw blade can then follow. Plus, it makes it easier on my bandsaw. My bandsaw can handle cutting through this stuff, but it just makes it easier on your blades. And like the table saw is really the workhorse tool, so that's why I stick with doing it this way. Now I'll raise that blade up and get to maybe 2 to 3 inches. And again, just gives me a nice, easy line for my bandsaw to follow, and it's just easier on the tools. So that's what I'm doing here. Coming over to the bandsaw, we're gonna set ourselves up to that kind of that 8-inch mark. We're gonna raise our blade there and set up our fence, and this just gives us a nice easy rip through the bandsaw. You set it up one time, run all your stock through there, and then we're going to fillet this panel here. So you see it goes through nice and easy, and yank her through, and then I'll set all this on my planer. I just stack these boards as I'm running them through the bandsaw, and stack them on that planer, because then I can now set up my planer to go run on this material. But this particular bandsaw is it's a Grizzly bandsaw, and I forget the model. I want to say it's like a G513, but it's a two horse bandsaw. It works great. Now we've got all our stock stacked over on the planer. We're going to go ahead and run this stuff through, and I'm on my phone because that's what you do while you're waiting for boards to run through. What else are you going to do? So run those boards through there, get back on the phone, and wait for these longer boards to get through. But what I'm doing here is I am basically milling these things down. I hit like kind of like the 1/2 inch mark, and I'm gonna run them all through. And you're not gonna remove much stock, but it makes sure that everything is uniform. Then I'll run that planer up to maybe 7/16, and finally I'll get to that dimension that's 3/8, which is what I'm aiming for. 3/8 or 0.375, which I use my calipers here to make sure that I'm close. I like to have close drawer stock, especially as they get smaller. So now we're going to go ahead and cut all these pieces up to size. I've got some notes on the dimensions that I need for my drawer boxes. So we'll rip all those out real quick, and we'll head over to the saw, cut them down again. Now we'll cut the height of all of our boxes. And this is, we do all this at the same time, that way all these boxes are the same, just less setup on the table saw. So over here, I like to edge sand all of my drawer parts. It gives a nice clean edge. It's good for running them on the miter lock bit. And make sure everything's really square. It's important to have a nice square drawer box. So here we're running all of our dados for the drawer bottoms. And again, we run all these at the same time. router table. This is where we're gonna run our miter lock through here. So this is the female side. This is gonna be the side that is gonna run with the track side, which is what I call the track side. And you know, you run these nice and slow. The tip here is to have a great vacuum. The better your vacuum, the less tear out you're gonna have when you're running those parts of there. This is the male side, and these run very smoothly. You know, we could run them without vacuum, but that female side is important to have a good vacuum. So run all these parts with the miter lock bit. You can kind of look at them here. They look good. It's a nice, great shape, lots of surface area for glue, which is really the important thing. There you can see that there's tear out, you know, and that's the thing, like, it's gonna tear out a little bit, it's fine, doesn't affect anything. The glue up is good, the construction looks good, the appearance is good. So you can see all the joints look fantastic. It's a self-squaring tool, you know, so it automatically squares everything up. But here I'm gonna check my dimensions for the bottom. So I'll go, we'll go find ourselves a piece of cherry here. And this is 1/4 inch cherry. I think this is an MDF core material. We'll run that over to the panel saw and we'll whack this stuff up real quick. And I like my panel saw. My panel saw is not square. I don't know if anyone has a square panel saw. I cut as best I can. And I actually square a lot of my panels up on my edge sander. It's just a great tool for it. Plus it gives you a nice clean surface to work on. Now here I dry fit everything. And I'm always stressed it's dry fit, dry fit, dry fit. Make sure your parts fit. You know, we'll go ahead and we'll sand all these up. You know, I know it's a shocker, right? A guy that sands his drawer boxes. But anyway, yeah, sand them up, and we're gonna glue everything here. Get it all glued up, and we'll let this stuff, we'll clamp it up, and let that stuff kind of dry for a couple of hours. Okay, so our drawer boxes are dry. We need to cut out all of our little, I don't know what you call them, spots for our underbound slides. So we'll cut those out with a little dovetail saw, knock them all out. We'll take them over to the cabinet. This is what I like doing on the cabinet. I like to actually set the drawer box in there, set it down, and then just tap it with the slides actually in place. And then it's gonna knock some little indentations on the back of the drawer box, right? And you'll see those right here. Very obvious. That's your indentation for exactly where your holes need to go on the back side for your undermount. So we'll drill those in with a 1/4 inch Forstner bit, and then we'll go ahead and start attaching the rest of our hardware. Obviously we use 3/8 screws because we're making a 3/8 thick drawer box, and we'll run these in. I like to use a 6-inch. Excuse me. Here I'm using a little pilot bit. I'm basically just breaking the surface, right? Then I'll take a 6-inch Phillips bit, and I go ahead and I run all these screws in on these locking devices for the undermounts. These are Bloom's. Bloom's great company. I love their stuff. So yeah, so this bad boy's done. We got our locking devices in. We got our 1/4 inch holes in the back. We got our little relief cuts made for the inside of the undermounts. It's a good looking drawer box.